Hello, 7th graders. This is Miss Greenman here. The 7th grade team and I wanted to review a few basic tech concepts with you just at the beginning of the year to make sure that you're set up for some of the expectations we will have. So I'm going to go over a few things dealing with your iPad in general, Schoology, and Notability, just to get you organized. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a few reminders about some of the expectations the 7th grade teachers have for you when it comes to iPad usage. So as I go through this video and I kind of explain some of the things to you, feel free to follow along on your own iPad so that you can get some of those changes set up now and you don't have to worry about it later. So the first place that I'm going to go to is our settings. So you can follow along, go ahead and find your settings app and click on that. We've got two different menus going on the settings screen. On the left-hand side are the main menus, and then on the right-hand side is the specific menu that you have pulled up. So right now I've clicked on the general menu. I'm actually going to go up and show you something right now in regards to the notifications. I just want to remind you that for any app, if it's sending you notifications, it's beeping, it's buzzing all the time, you don't really care, you don't really need to know, you can come in here and you can change those. So you can completely disregard notifications, you can change the types of notifications you're getting. You can do whatever, I don't know why I just popped out of there. You can do whatever you need to do in the notifications app here, okay? If we go down just a little bit and we head over to that general menu, because we have new iPads this year, there are a couple of things that aren't set quite right. So for those of you that haven't figured it out yet, I just wanted to remind you. One of the big things is that your iPad right now has a general name, which is a whole bunch of numbers and letters. So if somebody were to try to connect with you via Bluetooth or AirDrop something to you, it wouldn't be clear who you are and what iPad they are dropping it to. So in the general menu over on the right hand side, now I'm going to go to the About section right at the top. First thing it asks for is the name. Yours is probably popping up with a bunch of numbers and letters. I titled mine Greenman. We as a 7th grade team would like each and every one of you to name your iPad your first and your last name so that we can identify you when your Bluetooth is on. The next thing that I would like to review with you here is the date and the time. So if I go back to the just general menu, about 2/3 of the way down the page, you'll see it says date and time. A lot of you, your time is off right now. When you had it clicked as set automatically, it was showing up as some different part of the world. I can't remember what it was. To set it to the correct time zone for us, you just click on that little button there, and then New York City tends to be a typical kind of marker for our time zone. So if you want to type in New York City, if you want to try to find Fairview or Erie, PA, that's okay. Just make sure that you can get the right date and time set up there. Now let's head on over to just our general home screen. So we're going to need to organize a few of the apps that we have. I know a lot of you are already aware, but just a quick reminder, if you want to move where things are at, you're just going to click and hold down on an app, and then you should be able to move it, put it in folders. If you try to link it up with another one, it creates a folder all of its own, and you can do that. As you see on this page, I've created a few different folders to help me out as well. When you come into these folders, if you hover over top of the title, like I just did there, you'll see that the apps within start shaking. That allows you to move them around. And I can now come in here and I can change the name of the title to whatever I want it to be so that I better understand what that folder is for. In order to get all of the shaking to stop, you just press your home screen once, and then you're all set. Down at the bottom of my iPad screen, you should see like a little toolbar here with a few apps and a line separating some of them. So if you see, I've got the big P symbol, I've got the S for Schoology, I've got Safari, my email, Apple Classroom, and then another app that I use. All over on the left-hand side, those are the apps that I always want to have easy access to. So for you guys, I would probably suggest you have Schoology and Notability pulled up there, and then any other apps that you're going to frequently. On the right-hand side, you'll see I've got the calendar, my settings, and my photos. Those are the apps that I'm just going to frequently. So it's popping it up there too as kind of a suggestion for me, but it's the ones on the left-hand side that will pop up every single time. So make sure that you go through and set up your iPad so that it's very easy for you to access the apps that you will need all the time. Okay, now, I know we're moving quickly here. We're going to head over to Schoology. So on Schoology, you've got your home page. If we tab on those 3 lines on the left, that's where we start to see some of our information. You should have your courses here. Let me see here. You should know courses, you should know grades. So the only thing I think we really need to review with Schoology is the calendar. If you go ahead and click on that icon, it automatically pops up this upcoming tab, which shows you basically day by day the things that are due. If you have me in class, you can see that we had some assignments that were due on September 4th. We also have the events for the middle school that are popping up too, so we can easily see there if it's an A day or a B day or what have you. We also have a tab over on the right hand side that says calendar. If we look at that, we can pull up individual days, and then for that day it'll show us all the stuff that's due for just that time period. We can go day to day just to check and see what's going to be due then. Now, one thing on the calendar app that you might not be aware of that's going to be really helpful to some of you is this blue plus up on the top right hand corner of the iPad screen. This blue plus allows you to add an event. So a lot of times we as the teachers will post a homework assignment in Schoology with a due date to help you organize all of your assignments, but occasionally there's an assignment that becomes homework just for you. So say the majority of the students finished the assignment and the teacher collected it. For most people, they turned it in, and then the teacher said, if you didn't finish this assignment, I want you to wrap it up for homework. Well, we're not going to post that on Schoology because the majority of people are already done with it. Instead, you would want to add it in on your own. So this is where you start to take a little bit more responsibility for organizing the things that you have due. So let's take a look at what it looks like when you add an event. So I press that blue plus sign up at the top. Now I can post to all of the different classes that I have. You should only have personal event as an option. You do have to fill in all of the information here in order for it to work. So I could say it's an all-day event on December 9th. It's my birthday, so I'm going to write it in here. Description, I can say celebrate. I can add in a little emoji. You can do whatever you'd like to do here to help remind you what assignment it is you have, what event it is you're going to, whatever you need to do here. Now, you should see up in the top right-hand corner, do you see how I can't press the check mark yet? It's because I haven't filled out everything. So you have to fill out literally everything in order for it to accept it. Here, I'm just going to disable RSVPs. Now, once I have all that information in, a green check mark pulls up, and then I'm able to add that event in myself. If we go on the calendar here all the way to December 9th, and I pull it up, you see there that it says birthday, personal event, all day. So this is really going to be valuable for you in trying to organize all of your assignments, maybe your extracurriculars if they're not already on Schoology for you. Okay, last thing I want to talk to you about is Notability. In Notability, there are 2 things that I really want to cover with you. So the first is backing up your assignments. We've had issues in the past, I'm sure you've had these as well, where something goes wrong with Notability. You go in and things are deleted out. It's completely wiped. You can't find the thing you were working on last night. In order to bypass those issues and errors, we can back up our Notability. So down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you should see like a little toolbar there. I'm going to press the gears, which is the settings for Notability. You can see there are a whole bunch of different options you have here for settings. We want to look at the auto backup. We all have a Google Drive account. That's your email account that you use through the school. So it would be your the date of graduation, your last name, your first initial at fairviewschools.org. Take a minute now to back up your Notability to Google Drive. If you come to one of the teachers this year and you say that you were working in on Notability, but your assignment got deleted, something went wrong, we will ask you to pull it up in Google Drive. We will ask you to open up your Google Drive and show it to us that way. So you need to have it backed up. There will be no excuse if you lose an assignment if you did not back up your Notability. So everybody take the time to do it now. I already have it backed up, so I can't show you how to do it necessarily. It should be fairly intuitive, and if you're struggling with it, you can either see me or Mrs. Costello in the library to help you set that up. Okay, the other thing I want to mention here is some of you get a little bit crazy in Notability. There's a lot going on. There are just 1.5 million notes, and none of them are organized. So we would like you to organize your notes a little bit better so that you can find information easier. Up on the top left-hand side, you'll see there's a little plus button there, and I can create one of two things. I can create either a divider or a subject. A divider would be a way to organize different subjects, and then the subject is what you can actually put notes into. So if I created a divider for 7th grade, I could hold all of my different 7th grade classes here. Then I can create a subject, and I could call it ELA. I could create a subject for math. I could create a subject for science, so that you can have all of the different subjects that make sense to you, okay? And again, if I create a divider here, I don't know why it was being a little bit goofy. I could type in here 7th grade, and then I can move these different folders into an order that makes sense for me and under that divider. So I suggest if you still have, maybe you already did the backup and coming in this year with Notability, you still have a lot of the Notability files from last year, go ahead and create a 6th grade divider and then put all of last year's subjects into that divider and start fresh for the 7th grade year so that you don't get confused there, okay? Those are the big important things that we wanted to show you how to do. Now I want to go over a few reminders. So first of all, remember that your iPad is a school material. It's a school item. So use it wisely. Don't do things on the iPad that you wouldn't do in front of your teacher, okay? So that means we don't accept you playing games in the middle of class. You're not allowed to pull out a deck of cards and start playing a game with your friends. We don't expect you to be doing that during class either. Don't ever use your iPad unless your teachers have directed you to. So your iPad should remain closed and set aside unless the teachers in class ask you to pull it up. Make sure that your sound is turned off. We have a lot of people that struggle with that at the beginning of the year where their alarm will start going off or something. Make sure that your sound is turned off right now so that that's not going to be an issue for you. And make sure that your Bluetooth is turned on. So if I scroll up, you can see here the Bluetooth item in that top right box. It's that little button there that looks kind of like a bee, kind of like a weird antenna. That's your Bluetooth. We want to make sure that that's turned on so that we can always kind of just track what you're doing in Apple Classroom. So that does have to be on. It is a requirement. Okay? And then finally, just a quick reminder about earbuds. In the 7th grade, you are not allowed to use earbuds. You are not allowed to listen to songs on your own unless the teacher has directed you to. So in some classes, there may be some activities where we need you to bring earbuds and use them. But if we are not doing an activity that requires them, you are not allowed to have them on. Okay? So those are all the things we needed to review. If you have any questions, feel free to see me or Mrs. Costello in the library. You can watch this video as many times as you need. Make sure you get those few setting changes that I told you about all figured out before we get too deep into the school year, because those are requirements in the 7th grade. Thanks so much, guys.